The virtual campground is a community of RVers. We gather around the campfire to share stories, information, and travel tips that help you on your next adventure. Your camp hosts, Deborah and Barry Benton, are full-time RVers in search of quaint bookstores, cozy coffee shops with great Wi-Fi, and epic photography opportunities, all to share with you. So pull up your chair and join us in the virtual campground. Welcome to the virtual campground. My wife is laughing at me.
Every week.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's do this.
Clearly, you are ready and pumped because you are early.
I'm not early. Look at that.
What? Well, okay.
6:01.
Okay, I'm looking at the wrong clock.
Perfectly on time. Oh, yeah. Microwave clock, always slow.
Well, we're doing really well just to even know what time it is and that it's
That's
actually the right time to be on camera because we've changed now to the Pacific Standard Time, and I don't think either one of us are really prepared for Pacific Time. I don't know how the people out here do this.
Got to get way too early to
do business.
To do business.
Yes, 6 a.m. call because that's normally 8 a.m.
I don't know how they do it out here.
Central. I know it.
Crazy.
They must never talk to people in New York. They just must ignore them.
Probably.
Yeah. So, and the worst was when we first came into Oregon. We were in this little town.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we were sort of in this little town. We were outside of the town of Ontario, Oregon. Ontario stays on Mountain Standard Time because they're so close to Boise.
Which we thought was great.
Except for our campground was 1 mile past the time line.
Flippin' mile.
So we'd have to go in and out of Ontario to do things because, that was the nearest town. Talk about confusing. We had to do math. It was hard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had to run to the bank and we said, okay, the bank closes at 5. Mm-hmm. We've got an hour and a half.
We've got plenty of time. Then we get on the road.
It's a 30-minute drive.
Oops.
And then, 1 mile into it, we lose an hour.
We didn't make it to the bank that night. No. I had to go the next day, and I had to. And then I went into town and I was in the coffee shop to make sure that I'd be there at the 3:30 time of the appointment. I was a little late.
Time zones are tough.
Time zones are really.
I think that's where I'm coming out of this is time zone. Yeah, and then you throw in the daylight savings time.
Oh, thank God, it's not daylight savings time.
Yeah, it's just it's just crazy.
We heard that they are trying to succeed from Oregon actually because they're more closely aligned with Boise and Idaho sensibilities than Portland.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So who knows, but it was very confusing, especially when you're only 1 mile over the line and you have to keep going back and forth. So usually, you go into a time zone and you're just in that time zone. Then you get kind of used to it. So We're now where are we now?
We are outside of Portland, south of Portland. About 45 minutes an hour south of Portland?
We're in McMinnville.
McMinnville, in the heart of the wine country in Willamette Valley.
Very good.
Repeat after me.
Well. Willamette. Damn it.
So that is where we are. We're waiting on some friends to arrive. Not just random people. Some friends that we've known for years that are coming to join us.
That we drink wine with.
Yeah, we're going to sample some of Oregon's finest. Or just something. I don't know. We're going to do some drinking.
Yesterday we had our first wine, but it was Spanish wine. It wasn't Oregon wine.
Yeah, we kind of cheated. We went to a Spanish restaurant, had paella and a whole bunch of other tapas, and drank Spanish wine in Oregon.
It was good.
What were we thinking? Yeah, it was great. Highly recommend La Rambla.
La Rambla. Yep.
In downtown
on Main Street of McMinnville.
Yep.
McMinnville has a lot to go for it, and we will be sharing lots more about McMinnville and the surrounding area in weeks to come.
That's right.
So, but today we have other things to talk about. So we talked about where we are. We're in the Old Stone Village.
Oh, yeah.
RV resort.
The cool thing about this RV park, if you are a plane enthusiast, meaning you like airplanes, not that you're just a plane
Plane,
Yeah,
not Plaine.
That's very,
And
yeah, it's
no
not
E.
just feels or whatever. But anyway, right behind us is, I haven't been there yet, so I can't speak
The
to it.
Evergreen.
But the Evergreen Museum,
and
Aviation Museum.
Space and Aviation Museum.
So there are 3 huge buildings that, are hangar size. I mean, just huge, and they, I guess, have a bunch of airplanes in them. And then there's one that has an airplane sitting on top, and it is a water park.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a slide that comes out of the airplane that's sitting on top.
That's
Looks like it's
read.
747, and so we have yet to check that out. But stay tuned. We will check it out on your behalf.
But it is right next door, so easy if you are Aviation Person Plus. They right now I can hear an airplane.
Oh yeah.
So
which is better? We've decided is better than being next to trains. Oh, I've decided it. That it's better than being next to train because it's a softer kind of drone as opposed to the
quicker.
harsh horn. And then and they don't. Deb pointed out they don't fly late at night, so trains will come through at 2 a.m. blasting their horns. Don't get me wrong, I love trains. Okay, I don't want to get off on the wrong track, so to speak.
Very, very funny, sort of.
I got a million of them.
Do you know what this month is?
Yes, it is June.
Okay, yeah, it is June. But do you know what it's the national month of?
National Month of Ice Cream.
Could be, I don't know. It is of camping. It's camping month.
Oh, well, this is the beginning of the season. Memorial Day kicked us off, and
That's right.
We are in the thick of it now.
And I think June 10th, this Saturday, is actually National RV Day. So how are you celebrating?
I got to go out
Johnny,
and get
are you going to
cards.
get out in the actual rig?
Johnny needs to go get a card to send to us.
for RV Day?
Yeah.
No cards. But yes, so that is happening this week and this month, and so there's a lot. I've been seeing a lot of things in a lot of the camping newsletters and Camping World, all having celebrating and having sales. So just FYI.
Nice.
Yes, nice. And and also just because Mr. Gibson, I believe it was, one of our TVCers, reached out to me to remind me that today, since we were doing live today, is also June 6th, and which is D-Day. It's the anniversary of D-Day. So many thanks to the many men that stormed Normandy, many of which did not get off that beach.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that was the big news for the 2 happenings, so to speak. I don't have a lot of news today. No Deborah's news. I know we're all so sad. But we do have other things that we're going to talk about, including Salt Lake City. So, but before we get to Salt Lake City, is there anything else that we need to talk about?
Oh, I mean, lots of stuff.
Lots of
do you
stuff.
want to do the question? Or...
Oh, yeah, let's do the question. I have a question for you. What is your favorite flower?
Is there a wrong answer here?
No, I'm just curious what people's favorite flowers are. Because, as you know, we're going to talk about flowers later in the show. So I was just curious to see if anybody had a favorite flower right now. Favorite type of flower.
That's hard to say.
Yes, it is a little bit hard to say. Johnny, you could mail us a card to General, what do they call it?
General Delivery McMinnville.
Yeah, you could, but don't do that. No, just email us because then I have to go pick it up. Yeah, email's good. Email cards are lovely, but again, you do not have to send us a card. Though, that said, somebody's birthday's coming.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Orchids. You like orchids? That's nice. Those are hard to grow and keep. I've killed a few of those. But yeah. Okay. Are we ready?
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
We got a lot to cover.
We do have some things to cover. So we're going to get started. We're going to talk about Salt Lake City.
Yes. We spent roughly a month in the Salt Lake City area. Now, when we say area, it was sort of a loose area. We were about 45 minutes to an hour outside of town. Mm-hmm. 1 hour, I'm hearing. Breaking news. We were 1 hour outside of Salt Lake City, and but we were near Park City.
Deer Valley, Park City. Yep.
Sundance, sort of.
Yeah, so we were up in the Unitah
Is that how you say it?
Mountains. Yes, that's how somebody taught me to say it. And the Washtog and Unitah Mountains. We were sort of in the middle.
All right. So yeah, it was lovely. Had a great time. So yeah, we did several things around Park City. We went to Sundance. We just really hit quite a few.
We did.
places.
I mean, you can do that a lot in a month. We did find out this. So if you are planning a trip into this area, our recommendation is to not go in May like we did.
Yeah, maybe a touch too early.
A touch too early. Really, what we found was tons of things were closed. I mean, in Salt Lake City, things were open, but in the surrounding mountain towns, a lot of people take their spring break during May because it's between the ski season, which ends in April, and the summer, which starts Memorial Day weekend. So what we found was that they called it mud season, and we learned why. And that a lot of people are closed during that time.
Yep.
They take spring breaks, they go off, stores are closed, things are just not happening. The other thing we found out is, again, going back to mud season, it was a really heavy snowfall this year. So even more than normal, May, there was still a lot of snow on the ground when we got there. And it then started melting, which of course then causes, as we all know, mud. So thus mud season.
Yeah.
But what also was happening was we would try to go on scenic drives and they were closed.
Yeah, the scenic drives, all the big passes were closed because they don't have winter maintenance. And so I mean, it was still gorgeous. The only caveat I would say, yes, so you don't have access to the hiking that you would otherwise. You don't have access to some of the shopping, perhaps, because some of the stores are closed. The upside is that a lot fewer people. When we got to the campground, besides the people that were full-timers there, we were the only part-timers there.
During the week, for sure. When
I say
the
full-time,
first two,
we were full-time RVers, but we were the only people just visiting that park.
Yes.
Everyone else was a full-time resident of that park.
Yeah, I would say there was maybe come and go 2 or 3 other rigs that were there during the time we were there at Naughty Pines. Until
Memorial Day. And then it was chaos. The place filled up, and
that Friday I sat there at the table and watched one car after another, one trailer after, and they were almost all trailers coming in. Yeah, very few of anything else. But so it is. Yes, so it's a great time to go there in early May if you don't want to be around other people a lot.
Yeah.
You can still hike. You just are definitely going to need crampons.
Yep, crampons.
Crampons and hiking poles. Because I did try to go to one place, and if I had been equipped, I probably could have hiked it, but I wasn't. But a lot of them you can't drive very close, so you're going to have a longer hike to get to, like Mirror Lake is a good example of. We could have done Mirror Lake, but we would have had to hike a couple miles to get to it because the road was closed still. Yeah. And the reason they're closed is, to your point, winter maintenance. And they also, what I learned later was, even if the snow had sort of melted or a plow could easily have gone and gotten the snow off the road, they were worried about mudslides because of all the melting. Yeah. So they didn't want, and they're very narrow roads, some of those passes, like the pass we tried, Guardman Pass. It's a very narrow road, and they were concerned about mudslides. So we were not able to do a lot of those really pretty slides, pretty passes.
I drove a part of one pass that was technically closed, but the gate was halfway open, and there was a sign saying recreation traffic only. And that's all I was doing. I was just recreating. So I drove past the gate and went a few more miles past the gate, and it started getting pretty icy and snowy. And then parked up in the middle of the road was a park ranger. So I just turned around and headed out of there, finished my recreating.
Yes. All right. So we're going to start out by showing you, now that we've talked a little bit about the win, we're going to start out by giving you an overview of a day we spent in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
And then we'll be back with more.
Stay tuned.
All right. So where are we going today?
We are going to have a day of adventure here in the Salt Lake City area.
An incredible day.
An incredible day. First stop, brunch.
Yes.
Woodland Biscuit Company.
At a weird little cafe we passed.
It's not weird, it's just cute.
Okay, all right. A cute little cafe that we passed going back and forth between here and town, and it's never open. They're
No,
only open
only op-
certain hours.
on the weekends, Saturday and
weekends.
Sundays.
So-
And you have to make a reservation to get in
And we hear people come from miles around.
from
to
Salt
go.
Lake City,
All right.
which is about an hour away.
So we're gonna go check
we're gonna
this
go
out.
check it out and see if it's worth it.
And then we have a full day ahead of us, so
Full day.
we'll check in later. Okay, we just finished up at the Woodland
Biscuit
Biscuit Company.
Company.
It was really good, highly recommended.
The biscuits.
You have to make a
Obviously.
reservation, right? So what was that process?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is make a reservation on Monday. They open for reservations for the following weekend. So on Monday I got on, I think it was started at 8 maybe? 10. And I got on, made a reservation right away. Though we have seen some people walk in. It wasn't completely full at this
No.
time. I bet during the summer it does, because apparently this is a great area for people to come and hike. So I think a lot of people come out here to go to Mirror Lake, and they stop here for breakfast, and it is quite tasty. I had seared eggs. Highly recommend.
Cured eggs, and I had the biscuits and gravy,
He was
which
being healthy.
yeah, which was better than your Cracker Barrel biscuits and gravy. It was good.
Don't say that.
No, nothing wrong against Cracker Barrel.
No, but it was it was less gravy, so more reasonable. But the biscuits were tasty. The jam was fresh.
Yep.
And we had, of
The
course,
cinnamon
the
roll
famous
biscuit.
cinnamon roll, and it was blueberry and lemon zest.
Yeah,
Tasty.
very good.
Okay, next stop, Farmers Market.
Farmers
in Salt
Market.
Lake City.
Yep. What happened?
So apparently we're in mud season again, and so no farmers market. It closed for the winter, and hadn't opened yet for the summer. So now we are here at Temple Square. Here. It's all under construction, so you can't see.
Finished a cool deli.
Yes,
Caputo's?
I think so.
There are 2 or 3 locations here in Salt Lake.
Definitely a place to go if you want picnic fixings.
Yeah.
Amazing display of cheeses and deli meats.
Yep.
But we just got a sandwich and it was tasty.
Yep, good sandwiches and all kinds of good stuff. And if you are looking, oh my God, so much chocolate. I've never seen as much chocolate in one place. And bitters. If you are into bitters,
Oh my gosh.
this is the place to go.
Didn't even know these bitters existed.
No, lots of bitters.
So many bitters.
Now we are on our way to
Thanksgiving Point
Thanksgiving Point.
and the Tulip Festival, where we're going to see the Lyceum Orchestra play.
All right.
And some pretty flowers.
Sounds good.
Don't we have to go up that way, Grandma, because the stairs that way?
So many tulips. We're at Ashton Gardens at the Tulip Festival, and I have never seen so many tulips, nor did I know there were such variety of tulips.
That was a long drive.
It was a little bit long coming home, but we left here around 10 and it's now 11.
Right.
So pretty long day, but it was a good day. We got a lot.
Very good day.
Saw a lot of things.
Had an amazing breakfast, and then went into town and had a good time poking around town.
Mm-hmm.
Missed the farmer's market, unfortunately, but we'll catch that next time.
not while we're here. Next town.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, and ended with that lovely concert of all the very talented high school students. It was amazing. So
At the Tulip Festival.
the Tulip Festival, yes, in the Ashton Gardens.
So we can highly recommend hanging out in Salt Lake City. It's a pretty cool place.
Very fun.
Very cool. Well done. And props to my wife for putting all that together. She did that whole video.
I just edited it. You did the shooting. So I wanted to point out, so you saw the temple. We couldn't get very close to the temple, and typically speaking, outsiders can't get into the temple, though they do have a grand opening next year, or 2024, that they will allow people in, they said. But yeah, so it was really fascinating because they had dug under the foundation of the temple, which was built back in the turn of the century, and they were earthquake proofing it. So they were adding foundation under the foundation.
Monumental project.
It was ginormous and had just a big hole dug out. So that was pretty fascinating just to see that. It was unfortunate because it had scaffolding all over that we couldn't really see what the temple itself looked like, but really interesting. And they have, not far from the temple is also the state capitol, which is just a beautiful building. Looks a lot like the White House. Yeah, but it was very beautiful and has some great grounds around it that you can walk around, and a river not very far. It's also, if you go past the state capitol up into the hills, there's a really cool hike up there, the living room, that you can kind of sit, and it looks like a living room, and you can see the whole city out in front of you, but also some really pretty houses. Yep. There were some nice houses up that way. It was a nice drive. Yeah, it was.
Just to reiterate, that grand opening, I don't remember those dates, but sometime next year.
No, I think it was not until maybe 2025. I don't remember.
Oh, really? Yeah, we'll look that up, because if you are traveling out this way, that'd be a very unique opportunity to get into a building you don't have an opportunity to do.
Yeah, no. So they're going to allow people in for that grand opening. So non-Mormons as well.
Yep. All right, cool. So we just want to roll through a few photos and talk about some of the other experiences we did.
Yeah, let's do that. So let's stick with Salt Lake first. We just showed you some Salt Lake. We also, when we were in Salt Lake, went over to the 1500 block. Salt Lake was really kind of fun in that it has lots of little neighborhoods that are really kind of cute. And
it's very grid, very structured layout.
Apparently it is very structured. It has the temple as the middle, and streets go out perpendicular, and what's that other word, parallel, and it's all the streets are like 1500 west or 1500 east, and that's the temple is the center, and everything goes around that. So that's how you can orient yourself, and then you're of course surrounded by mountains.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
But the one neighborhood that we were in, the 1500 block, there's a Sugarland neighborhood, and then this is just, I think, called 1515, and this is where we found this adorable bookstore that I liked, of course. King's English, it's called. This is a really fun bookstore. It is located in an old home that's been each room was packed, and it was kind of fun because you'd go down this like almost hidden hallway to find more books. And I really thought the next slide, which shows you, they had in their mystery section, they had this mystery menu, and you can see it's like a menu at a restaurant, but then it would say like tea, and there were some Agatha Christie, who was an author, that would fall under tea, but fine wine might be P.D. James, and bourbon, and they had one for whiskey and gin. It was that I thought that was kind of a fun way to categorize your mysteries. So that was so that was a fun bookstore. Went back there a couple of times actually. Yes, and they have a very yummy candle that smells. They called it the King's English, so it kind of reminds you of a nice bookstore with the print smell, and it was yummy.
Nice.
So that was a great place. They were really friendly. Had great selection of cards and little things as well. So it's a good stop, and it's in a great neighborhood. Like I said, across the street was Tool Bakery, which had some yummy things in it, and at Caputo's Deli, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later. But there was a small one in that neighborhood.
Okay, so this was different than the deli that we just had in the video.
Oh, in the video. That's right. We already talked about it.
Yeah. But there were several locations, and
Yeah.
this is really an important point. The one we went to, do you remember the street it was on?
It
was
was
right around the 1500 something, right?
No, it was over by where the farmers market was supposed to be.
Right.
That wasn't there. I don't remember.
Okay.
Any rate.
But when you're looking at Caputo's, make sure you go to the big one because it has much more variety. But you will find other Caputo's.
Yeah,
in
the
town.
Caputo's that's on the 15 across the street from the King's English bookstore. It's very small. It's again in like a little house building, and had probably a quarter the size of the deli, not just a table section maybe of chocolate. So gosh.
Yeah.
And
Pitiful.
you can still get some yummy things there. You could get the sandwiches and salads there, and it had a nice patio to sit on to eat, but it is much smaller than the one that we showed you in the video.
Yep.
So just to know.
And we let's see, we heard sort of at the last minute. So our son came to visit us, Drew, who I think is out there right now. Hi,
Yes.
Drew. He came to visit us, and we found out Impractical Jokers was going to be in town.
Yes. We were looking around for entertainment and what all you could find in Salt Lake, and so out at the auditorium where they play basketball, I guess, was Impractical Jokers.
Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we used to watch Impractical Jokers every now and then when the boys were growing up, and so it was kind of fun to go see that with Drew.
So there was 3 out of the 4 Jokers were there, and they just sort of do. If you want to go see them, they do. Yeah,
humorous skits.
They talk about basically the
history.
gags they did and recap some of the things that were on the show.
Do
But it was fun.
gags, yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And then, of course, after that, we had to go drinking. Well, we didn't do it immediately after that. But
This is in Park City.
Oh, that's at Park City? That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Park City, you want to launch right into that?
Sure, let's talk about Park
Okay,
City.
so Park City, of course, Park City is very famous for being an amazing ski town. But it's a really neat summer destination, and like we mentioned earlier, it's a little more quiet in the mud season or the shoulder season, but it was still lovely. And we popped into this distillery and had some really fine bourbon.
Yep, this is High West Distillery. I believe it's the oldest distillery in Utah, and you can actually during ski season ski in.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. But it is down there right off of Main Street. Main Street of Park City was more or less open. It was more open than some of the other places we've been to on actual Main Street. There were a couple shops that were closed. It does have some pretty high-end shops on it, but then they had some regulars and lots of cool art galleries. We went to a couple of great photography galleries as well. So it does have quite a few things on it, including 2 bookstores. The first one is called Dolly's, and that is an image of Dolly's, and then the next picture is actually Dolly. That's Dolly. The cat is the bookstore's named after the cat.
How fun is that?
So we went and also bought some books there at Dolly's, including Big Burn, which we're kind of looking at for a potential book for our Montana pick. But you cannot ski out of the distillery. You can only ski in. It's just that kind of...
Well, yeah. I mean, after you've been drinking,
It has nothing to do with drinking. It's the snow.
You shouldn't be skiing. Come on. But that is... both these gentlemen sort of bring up an interesting point we should touch on. If you go to Utah and expect to hang out at this cool distillery for hours sipping... I guess you could if you sipped on your liquor, but do you remember what the maximum,
like
2
ounce and a
ounces? An ounce and a half was the maximum they could serve a person.
Well, no, it had something to do with an ounce and a half in in a single spirit. It was something to do with the spirit, and because one of the things we tried had 2 spirits in it, and he said that they have to brand one of the spirits as a flavoring, not actually the spirit.
But there was some sort of cap on the number of drinks you can have.
They're a little bit more stringent. Obviously, in Utah, they've gotten better, from what I understand, but it is still something that will take your license. Everybody, your license gets swiped, and I think it's one of the ways they kind of are tracking drinking. So it is. You can, though, obviously. Salt Lake City, we didn't really go into Salt Lake City to have dinner, but we were in Tizanti, was a great little tea shop, and they served wine there. So you can find alcohol in Salt Lake City, and certainly you can in the surrounding area, especially around the ski towns. They are going to make sure that you can have some alcohol in the ski towns.
That's right. And there's even places to get caffeine, which
totally. And the other bookstore that we went to, Atticus, it was more coffee bar than bookstore, I think, and but really cute and great coffee there. And you actually sat there and worked for a while.
I sat there and worked. It was kind of crowded. It's a small place, but it was lovely. Yeah, sort of coffee shop, bookstore, little novelties, but it was lovely. Nice place to hang out.
We also had dinner there at Handle, and there were quite a few other restaurants that were great to eat. We went to a brewery at the top of the street, and that was very tasty. We actually did trivia night there, so that was fun.
Yeah.
We didn't do very well, but we had fun.
I thought we were killing it. I mean,
we were shocked when we were in last place.
People were killing it more than we were, for sure.
Because we felt pretty good about ourselves.
Yeah.
The other thing I found in Park City is Park City Gardens. Now, it's not really a garden. It is a nursery. But it was really cool in that it is a very old historic building. Used to be a barn that they've changed into, it's a coffee shop, a little store that I got to buy a couple of fun little gifts at, and a gorgeous nursery with flowers and trees and everything. Obviously, you're not going to buy a tree if you live in an RV, but I did buy a couple of flowers to put in our planters. And there was a section behind it that had the little river, and you could walk over there and sit in some chairs and read under the trees. There was also a greenhouse that was Wi-Fi, so you could actually work in there as well. I saw some kids. Was Wi-Fi. Did I say tree house? I meant greenhouse.
You may have. I heard treehouse, and I got pretty excited. That sounds like fun.
I saw somebody doing his studies in there, so a great place to stay. So Sundance, which is much larger than I thought it was, had also a Whole Foods. It has lots of Best Buy. We had to go in there and get some electronic things.
Sundance?
No, but Park City.
Oh, okay.
And
you said Sundance.
And so it's a pretty good sized town, and you can find pretty much anything you need. Is my point.
Yeah.
But it was that was only about 30 minutes from where we were staying, so that was really convenient and easy for getting around.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sundance, we did go up to Sundance.
Now Sundance. So this is why I was confused, because Sundance was much smaller than I thought, because I'd always heard for years about the Sundance Film Festival, but that's actually held in Park City.
Correct.
So ski resort, lodges, or a lodge, and it's.
So it's.
Robert
I think
Redford hanging around.
Robert Redford bought it years and years ago. I think he bought 1,000 or so acres, but most of it has stayed remote. They only use, I'm not going to be able to tell you the exact number, 60, let's say, acres for the ski resort, for the skiing, and the lodges. The restaurant has a good restaurant, has a bar there, Owl Bar, which was taken from a bar up in Montana that Butch Cassidy used to hang out at. So
nice, very fitting.
Very fitting, Sundance, yes. So anyway, that was Sundance. It was a really lovely little stop, and the mountains around there were so gorgeous. That's where we actually had gone to try to go on the pass, but we were thwarted from that by the guard who said no entry.
And you and Drew walked through there, and you found a candle making place.
They have an arts and crafts place in the Sundance. You can go there, you can make an appointment, and you will be able to make jewelry or several other things. It depends on what they're doing. There was actually an artist there helping some people learn how to do what she was doing, and I don't really know. It was some sort of painting. But you can just walk in and get to make a candle And so
fun.
Drew and I were walk-ins, and we decided to make a candle, so we did. We each got to pick out our container and our scents, and that's why there's such a cute picture of me and Drew, is because we were making a candle.
That's fun.
That's us. So that behind there you can see all the scents. We got to smell them all and then picked. I think I picked the scents that was sort of their house scents of Sundance, they called it. Not very original of me, I guess, but it smelled really good.
That's a nice keepsake.
It is. It's a fun keepsake.
Well, keepsake for a while.
Well, no, once the wax is gone, then I can use it as a glass.
Oh, so that's right, because it was a very decorative glass.
It was very pretty. So that was a lot of fun, especially since my kid was there and it was fun. We also that day went out to see the falls, Bridal Falls.
Yes, so that was a really nice, easy hike.
That's a walk.
That's true. Yeah, it's not even a hike. It's just a walk. It's very little, if any, elevation gain. And
well, I guess you could try to go up that hill closer to the falls. We saw some people up there.
There were some people, but there was a lot of ice and
scrambling,
snow. And I don't know. Yeah, so it was a nice little walk though.
Mm-hmm.
Good to get out, and it was lovely.
It was very pretty. So that, and then we did head down to Provo.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
and
just drove through it basically.
So Provo, our big takeaway on Provo was because we had been in Salt Lake already, but Provo is completely surrounded by mountains. Like they felt like you were just could reach out and touch the mountain. It felt so close. We did find a chocolate store there because our son Drew was with us. So of course we're going to find a chocolate store called Taste. So we went in there and I got that fancy tea. It was quite lovely. But Provo was very much geared around the college.
Yeah.
A lot of students. We went into the Trader Joe's. I have never been in a Trader Joe's that was busier than that Trader Joe's.
That must
crazy.
have had 12 checkout lanes going, and it was just
it was packed.
people flying all over the place. It was crazy.
But so Provo was really worth a little drive down. There's some yummy restaurants down that way. A lot of good little things to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a hike or two that we could have done. We didn't. Yeah. It was kind of a dismal day.
But it was so much fun just being in that little town.
Mm-hmm.
Not a little town. It's a pretty big college town, and you have all those mountains right there.
Mm-hmm. We did also take a trip up to Ogden. Wouldn't really recommend that one. That wasn't so much worth it.
There's that one street that's kind of okay. I mean, it was first off, it was dead because of the season, I guess. But and then it was just
there's a train station there that if you're really into trains, it's a historic train station that I think it was closed by the time I got there. We peeked inside. It looked really cool, but you'd have to really love trains to make that trip. It was a nice drive to Ogden though, so that was lovely. But that would probably be a so-so. The area that we stayed in, Camas, K-A-M-A-S, Camas and Heber Valley and Midway were all together.
Yeah.
That's an image of the clubhouse where we stayed at Knotty Pine. I wanted just to talk about the towns first, but the area that we were staying in, like we said, it's close to Park City. Midway was a really cute little town. We went there and had coffee. We had lunch at a little place right there. We actually went back there another day and they had a really pretty Christmas store and a little art show going on. So we went in, and it's just a cute little town that clearly is geared a little bit more to people visiting because it had lots of little shops in it, and it had a nice map for people that wanted to know more about Midway. So I think that would be a great place if you were trying to be centrally located and found an RV park around that. That would be a great location to be working out of from Midway. Heber Valley was a little bit bigger of a town, had the grocery stores that we really wanted to go to, and a good hardware store. But that would be a good place to be based out of as well, Heber Valley. So in Camas. But like we said, we were in Camas, I think. Camas. And we stayed at the Knotty Pines RV Resort. Mm-hmm. So we've talked about that already. Great place to stay. You can see there we're really one of the only rigs. Had one of the nicest clubhouses I think we've ever seen. We went in there and watched the Stars
playoff Stars hockey playoff game, and that was So really cool place with the pool table, but it was right off the creek and
right off the river,
right off the
River.
Provo River, yeah.
And
which was running very fast.
It was a great place to work, good Wi-Fi.
Yep. Yeah.
We actually shot. It's really a great little place to stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was lovely. And when we got there, they had to shovel the snow off of our site to make a little more room for us. But it was lovely.
Yeah, the
nice
snow
place.
was gone by the next week.
Super nice manager that runs the place.
Oh yeah, Tracy. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell her we said hi. So yeah, that was a great place to go, and we highly recommend it.
Yep.
So I think that's all about Salt Lake City. I think all of that, just that was a view from outside the city of Camas back to the mountains, and that to me is the whole reason you want to go to this area is just these mountains. Probably one of my favorite things, and you can show that little video. To me, this is one of the reasons why you go someplace like this. You're driving along and you just have these gorgeous mountains up in front of you, and then you turn and just more of a vista of gorgeous mountains. This was just me driving from Camas to Logan, Utah, which was a cute little town as well, just a little 2 hours north of where we were staying. And just to be driving along and see these big old mountains just right ahead of you, that to me is heaven. Absolutely. I love mountains. So I like it. Yep. So we highly recommend that area for you. If you have any questions, let us know. We were there a month and enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. Okay.
So nice. I wanted to, just because we were talking about flowers, I wanted to show you these 2 flowers and ask you, what would you name this flower? It's obviously a tulip. I would, like we said in the video, I had never seen so many tulips. I had never seen so many colors or shapes. Yeah. And this one in particular was just kind of fun, and it reminded me of a particular cartoon character. So it, I would probably call this the heat miser tulip.
Yep.
It kind of reminded me of the heat miser.
Do you remember the actual name of it, though?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It had something to do with fire, didn't it?
Oh, probably. It was probably called the flame or something. I don't know. They didn't have a lot of names out on the different tulips, so to know what they were officially called, I probably should have looked that up. But yeah, that one I just thought it looked kind of like the heat miser. Yeah. And then this one, these, they're kind of a combination to me of a tulip and a dahlia. Because of the double blossoms on them, and I just thought these were.
It doesn't look like a tulip.
No, it doesn't, but it's just so pretty, kind of a sunshiny tulip.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah. I like that one.
So those are nice. So, Woody the Woodpecker, yeah, I could see that too. I could see that too.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right. Let's see. Do we want to do the coming soon?
Sure. So coming up soon, hopefully next week, we'll see. We actually had an interview. I had an interview with Randy and Georgia, and Randy does Native American flutes.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was, once you got into the conversation with the couple, they are some of the most interesting people I think we've talked to.
Yeah, they have had some experiences. They have been to Iceland and New Zealand. They have hiked the Appalachian Trail. They, Randy just taught himself how to do the flute back in like 2000. And now they often do appearances and give lectures about the places they visited with George's photography and his playing the flute. So it's
crazy.
Fascinating. So I'm looking forward to sharing that interview with you guys next week, where we talk about his flute and her photography, and then after that we'll have another interlude with them when we talk about the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
Cool. So before we sign off, just checking in with those of you in chat to make sure that, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Let's see. Do I play this coming soon?
No, that's just what you just showed.
That's it.
That was just a coming soon.
Oh, well, I didn't show that.
Oh, you didn't show it.
No.
Okay. Coming soon.
How fun is that?
Indy and Georgia.
Have we finished everything?
Yep. We finished everything except for the last little bit.
Okay. All right. Very cool. I don't know what a Heber creeper is. Do you know what a Heber creeper is?
Well, we said Heber Valley, so maybe he's thinking, was the Heber creeper running? I don't know what the Heber creeper is, Jimmy. So you'll have to let me know that.
Yeah, we don't know. I did not see anything running that was called the Heber creeper.
Didn't hear about it either.
All right. What else?
That's all.
That's all?
That's all, folks. Speaking
Okay.
Woody Woodpecker.
Let's see. Were we going to
Wrong
play
part.
something as a outro?
CCD.
CCD?
Mhm.
Okay.
You can tell I put a lot of this together. Barry's been very busy with work. And so he's running the pictures that he doesn't really even know what the pictures
Where
of.
do I go next? All right. Well, if that's it,
That's
thanks
it,
for
folks.
being here. So
That's all,
good
folks.
to see you all. Thanks for being here. And until, it's the train.
Oh,
Okay.
then no, it wasn't running.
No, we did not see a train.
I
Well,
did
you saw
read, actually,
trains.
now that you say that, I did read about a train. I don't remember being called that, but I don't think it was running.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I remember looking at a train thing and trying to see if we could get on it because we like trains, but either it wasn't running or it wasn't running at a time that we could do. I can't remember which. So,
Interesting.
good question.
All right. Cool. So it is a thing.
It is a thing.
All right, we're going to play you out with just a really super quick teaser video that's new about runs down the valley and back. Okay, cool. We will do that. Thank you. And this is about Camp Carpe Diem, which is coming up this fall in Montana. We're excited about it, but we have a new little teaser video about it. I hope you can join us.
And it's lickety split.
It's really
so
quick, yeah.
We won't have even time to in comments say goodbye, so we'll just say goodbye
Yep.
now. But thanks so much for tuning in.
Yep, until we see you in person, we'll see you in the virtual campground.
See you around the campfire.
Third annual Camp Carpe Diem. It'll be up in Kalispell, Montana, just south of Glacier National Park. Camp Carpe Diem is a long weekend of really fun biking, photography, hiking, just hanging around a campfire.
That's one of the best parts, hanging around the campfire. We really got to know people.
Yeah, it's all about community.